Hello everybody, welcome to this tutorial on how to make a graphic organizer. I actually recorded about a 45-minute tutorial on how to make this thing that you're seeing here using Google Drawing, which is part of Google Drive. But for some reason I overlooked something and I recorded the wrong screen. So as a result, what was recorded was my second monitor. So I'm going to paste all the stuff in here, and hopefully you could follow through each of the different parts of this presentation with what I'm going to provide. So if there's any questions, please feel free to let me know, and I will be more than happy to clarify. So without further ado, here is the recorded section of how to make a graphic organizer for the QSO-600 assignment for week 4. All right, hello everybody. I'm just going to record a quick graphic organizer as an example of how I would do how I would do a graphic organizer for this assignment. So I'm going to use Google Drive, Google Drawings. The textbook provides several examples of things that you could use. They use Creately and Bubblet and other ones. Here's the assignment. So basically, it asks you to create a graphic organizer with the following information. You need present types of production systems related to the organization selected for the final project. Describe risks involved for internal stakeholders and risks involved for external stakeholders. So in that regard, I'm going to list internal stakeholders and their risk, external stakeholders and their risks. And I'm just going to present the type of production systems related to the organization. So the example that I'm going to use, I'm going to make a basic company. I'm going to say Acme Computer Company. They want to make kid-friendly computers. I'll make it very simple. I'm just going to throw something up really quick. I'm not going to go very in-depth, so obviously there may be some things I missed, but my intent is to give you something that you can look at to kind of give you an idea as to how to do these graphic organizers. So when you want to use Google Drawings, basically you just go to your Google account, go to Google Drive, and you go to New, and then there's a little section down here called Google Drawings. And it creates a new drawing, in which once you hit that, this appears here. And then you just name it. I'm going to name this Acme Computer Company. So, Acme Computer Company. I use Google Drive just because it's easier for me to make things and then share it across computers, and it also lets you export it to all these different formats. If you use this, it's fine. If you use Creately, Bubblet, I've used Creately. Creately's pretty nice. I like that one. Bubblet, all these are nice too, but I just like it because I do all of my charts and stuff. As you can see from here, I use Google Drive quite a bit. These are all folders for drawings that I've created while during my academic and my teaching. So there's a bunch of different files. So I'm going to go ahead and start. So the first thing I do is I try to understand what this graphic organizer is going to tell the audience. The point of a graphic organizer is to communicate a story. So based upon what we want to do with this assignment, basically we're just going to provide a top-level view of the production system, internal stakeholders and external stakeholders, and the risks involved. So when you do internal and external stakeholders and risks involved, I like to use a matrix as like a small chart. I'll basically go over something like that. I'm not going to create one because it'll take some time. But, well, if I have some time, I will make one. But I'm just going to go ahead and go through the steps. So I'm going to make a text box here. Basically, I'm going to say Acme Computer Company. You're going to hear my computer typing. Sorry, I'm going to my keyboard and my microphone are kind of close to each other. So I'm going to say Acme Computer Company Kid Friendly Computer Project. It's just a label, I'm just going to put this on top just so it kind of tells people what my goal, what this is about. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to bold this out. And so I'll move this here. And as you can see, Google Drawings has a pretty cool little interface where it'll actually align things for you and everything else. So first box I'm going to create is for my brainstorm. I'm going to go production system. Now, if you remember from last week, there are two general types of production systems. There's intermittent and continuous. So intermittent are basically small batch sizes, small production runs. We have quick changeovers. The goal is flexibility. Continuous are the mass production, economies of scale ones where we don't change over very often, and changeovers are very difficult because we use specialized equipment. We don't use generalized equipment where it's easy to swap back and forth. And it's basically designed to pump out a lot of stuff. So we just let it run. It's got its benefits. So what we're going to say with this one is I'm going to say, you don't need to do this, but I'm going to basically say, what are the factors involved? So I'm going to go, bulleted list, this is fine. So production system. I'm going to say currently continuous. Now this is part of my brainstorm right now. Okay, I'm just brainstorming. Currently we make a whole bunch of computers. So we make a lot of the same computer. Okay, so options, I'm going to say options can be, and once again, I'm trying to tell a story. So my goal is I want to basically tell management what their options are, what the general gist of this project is. And as we go along, some of this may go away. I may delete some stuff. I may keep it in there. But basically, this is where I'm just going to capture all my ideas. And then this is going to show me what I want to do with my project. So options basically remain continuous. Now I'm going to make this bigger because I'm going to add risks to this. So if we may remain continuous, we have the risk of more frequent changeovers, which increase costs, and it'll also increase costs and also increase time, because now we gotta, the changeovers in a continuous system are not very easy. So, okay, so, or we can shift to flexible, to intermittent, sorry. So, risk of high initial costs, because we're going to have to change over everything into, we're going to have to make shorter runs, bring in new equipment, general purpose equipment. High initial costs to create capability to run multiple product lines. So so currently continuous. So we have, we'll say, one product line. We just make Acme Computer, one each. We don't we're all about the mass production right now. So all right. So, or we can go to, I'm going to say, I mentioned this briefly. We're going to go to postponement strategy. This is the hybrid strategy. So we can well, you have the risks of high upfront costs, high initial costs, to production line closest to customer. Okay, so basically what this is, we're going to stay continuous as far up as we can until one point where we design the differences between the kid computer and the normal computer. And at that point, we're going to create an intermittent system where the differences between the two are placed on separate production lines. Okay. And if I was going to create this in a larger proposal, I'd actually draw this out. And it would basically look like, I'm just going to do something really quick. It would basically look something like this. You'd have, one here, one here. Whoops. I thought I'd just let me keep doing it. I guess not. You know what? I can do this. Hold on a minute. Sorry. So I'm going to delete this. So Control C. I'm going to copy and paste. So you may have like 3 or 4 different processes here. Okay. And then you can just put arrows between the two. Whoops. Control Z. So I put one there and put one there. And then at a point where we have where the commonality stops, now we can make two product lines, okay? And this is very general, obviously. And then we can then go boom, boom. And this would be kid friendly. I'll just put in, I'll put it to this would be kid friendly. So kid friendly. And I'm just gonna make another box here. And adult friendly. Okay. And then, we have it go out to the end. So we go out to the end. So, just like that. So, and they would, I'm just gonna, I'll go ahead and finish my thinking on this. So this is what a postponement strategy would look like. We would go continuous as far as we can. And then what we can do, I brainstorm a lot on these, by the way, so I would just put in right here and change it to a dotted line and say this is where the postponement strategy starts. And then just put in an arrow in here. I'm just going to put in something really quick. Arrow. And then you just put an arrow over here. Okay, and then just say, this arrow here is modular. This one is continuous. So, so that's just an idea. So I'm going to go ahead and add another page. Now, one thing that I like to do here, I'll just go make a copy page 2. Okay. And the great thing is here, like, especially if you're collaborating, two people can work on the same one. So I'm just going to go here, Acme Computer, company page 2. So we're going to go ahead and keep the production system part here. I'm going to delete all this stuff here because I've got it in my page 1. So this is page 2. So that's the production system. I got that covered. Now, next thing I'm going to do, internal stakeholders. I'm just going to throw up some internal stakeholders. Let's see, internal stakeholders. Internal stakeholders. And I'll go ahead and delete this here. I'm going to start this here. All right. So, internal stakeholders. We go with production. I'm just going to throw some up. Actually, let's start at the beginning of the system here. I'm going to go with supply chain manager, management. Let's say supply chain management, production, engineering, inspection, guess you can go management, we'll say management. They may have whatever risks. And then shipping. So, supply chain management. Let's just do this. Is the stakeholders first. I'm just going to go ahead and do it. Let's move this up here. And go external stakeholders. Now, external stakeholders, we've got customers. So what kind of customers do we have? We're going to go parents, or I guess grandparents. We'll say adults, because I guess grandparents could buy, and you could say parents, grandparents. I'm just going to throw it out there. I don't want to get in the weeds too much. And you have kids. All right. So Then we go back down here. What other external stakeholders? Investors. Can't forget investors. We're all about making profits. So we have investors. And the thing is, the main reason you identify internal and external stakeholders is when you design this, you have to create it such that you address their concerns. Because especially if you create something that looks great on paper but doesn't take care of, say, investors, they'll be like, well, why are we helping you with this? Why should we back you? Then you may have a great product with no funding, or if you don't take care of things like that. So customers, investors. Let me see if I can think of another external stakeholder. Schools. Maybe we want to target schools. So this is good enough for now. This is good enough for now. So we had a whole bunch of internal stakeholders and a whole bunch of external stakeholders. Now for each of these, I'm going to identify risks. So increase in number of parts required to track. So production. Increase in complexity of production runs. As we mentioned up here, we have to change the production system more than likely. Increase in quantity. We're going to assume that we're going to have an increase in quantity manufactured. So this is something that you'd have to. As far as external stakeholders go, I want to go quickly talk about brand. Once again, when you talk about external stakeholders, you're looking at your brand proposition. So you say customers, what type of adults? Do we want high-end, rich adults who drive Mercedes, or do we want to focus on the blue-collar adults whose kids are lucky to have an iPad? So that makes a difference. Do we want to make a low-end, low-cost, decent quality computer, or do we want to make a high-end, high-quality computer? And profit margins obviously change, but also it has to relate to a company's brand value, a value proposition. That's very important. So if it doesn't line up to the value proposition, you may be doing things that your company isn't designed to do. 3, 2, 1, and we go again. Now, production. So increasing complexity of production runs, increasing quantity manufacturers. So engineering, increase in design complexity. I'm just going to throw something up. There's also additional design risks. And this is especially true because when you, just FYI, if you go to a postponement strategy, you normally have to design the product to be modular. So if you go to, if a hybrid production strategy is selected, then engineering is going to have to basically design modularity into the computer systems in this example. So new design, modular design. I'm just going to say for postponement strategy. Just going to say it. So inspection, increase in number of computers inspected. So increase number of computers inspected, but also increase in different designs. So in inspections, if you expect the same thing over and over and over again, you can create more standardized processes for inspection. One of the things about intermittent strategies is there's not a lot of standardization involved because they have to, you rely on the worker to be able to correct for problems in the line and everything else. So continuous strategies have more specialization and not standardization involved, which makes it easier for inspections because if things are standardized, it's all like everything is black. Go back to the Model T example. So increase in design and number of designs. Number of designs to inspect. So once again, this is just a very simple thing. I'm just going to throw it together. I'm not going to put much thought into it. So management. So let's say that we're going from a continuous to an intermittent. You need continuous does have a lot of management involved, but shift of burden in responsibility for production to workers. So in a intermittent production line, the workers have more responsibility. They have to go in, and because things are more, they change more often, they have to make a lot of more decisions than would a worker in a continuous one. So I'm just going to just throw that there. And shipping, increase in shipping containers, designs needed. Now, once again, you could design modularity so that they all look the same, so that they all have the same form, fit, and function. So if they all have the same form, fit, and function, then this wouldn't be a big deal. But once again, you have to design the modularity in a postponement strategy to do that. So increase in shipping container designs needed. Increase in number shipped. And number shipped. So also, when you increase number shipped, you may have to increase in warehouse. Increase in warehouse space needed. Now, to be fair, I'm going to shift this down because obviously we got more than I had. So obviously, if you when you increase the number of items made and you increase the complexity of the supply chain, you have an increase in warehouse space. You may also have an increase in things like buffer stocks, things like that, depending on how the design works out. If your design isn't able to absorb the extra complexity of the design, then you need to compensate for that by either having extra buffers or whatever. So just something really quick to throw together. So external customers, what's their risks? So adults, the risks is that they may not like it. May not like the design. So it could be too difficult for the children. It could also be too complex. It could be too easy. It just depends. So yeah, the kids, once again, I'll just say may not like the design. So may not enough kid-friendly games. Maybe you make a new computer and there's not enough programs that'll run on the thing. That happens. Watch when like Sony and Microsoft and them introduce a new platform. They've gotten smart in which they release the software first and let people build stuff for it, and then they allow people to buy it. But in the old days, you just bought it, and if you had one or two games available, you were lucky until people actually caught on. So investors. So increased initial costs may scare away short-term investors. So I'm just going to throw in schools. May not be powerful enough for the classes. And I'll even say once again, not enough student-friendly software. So here I did a real quick production system analysis, internal stakeholder, external stakeholder. So now I'm going to create a copy of this. Make a copy, and I'm just going to go page 3. And this is where I'm going to design my graphic organizer. This is going to be the final product here. So now, page 3. So now I'm going to, let me see if I can just shrink these down. Will it? Yeah, they won't do. Okay, so instead I'm going to move this off. Whoops. Move this off to the side. So first thing I want to focus on, it's going to look like a mess right now, is production system. So I'm going to make a production system box. Production system. So I'm going to go, to differentiate, I'm going to go, whoops, I'm going to go with italics, current. Current is continuous. Alternatives. So with this, I'm going to bump up the indentation, and I'm going to go continuous. So now I need to make a box for my risks. So I'm going to make another box for risks. Control B for, so now continuous, Control B, continuous production. I misspelled continuous. I'll fix that real quick. Continuous production. So what do we say for production? Increase changeover costs. So this is a risk. So we're going to do risks. Let's do this. I'm going to make a category here. It says risks. And then production changing. Production system change. Now, the assignment does not say to analyze the production system, but I'm going to do this anyway, just basically, this is be the way that I would do it in the real world, just so I can keep track of everything that I'm going to do. So, production, we're going to go intermittent. Costs and time. Now we could change this font from where's the font here? Is this it right here? No. Oh, it's right here. So change the font to, we'll say 12. So intermittent production. Well, let's just go ahead and take this off. That's pretty much a given. Intermittent. We got high initial costs, increased initial costs in product line redesign. So, and training, you know, we'll do intermittent. Actually, we'll just do this. Boom. Increased training for line personnel. I didn't have that down there, but I just well, I guess I kind of did. So okay, and then we go postponement strategy. Increase design costs and production line redesign. So okay, so then the postponement we covered. Yeah, so we're just gonna do that there. Now normally, you know, this is just gonna be high level. You would create, the rest of the report would go drill down into each of these risks separately. Ideally, what I would do, I would make a matrix to just state what affects what. Risk production system change. Okay, so now we're gonna go. I'm gonna make another box. So internal state. Oh, actually, you know what? We can do this. We can change format options. We're gonna change the. Actually, there's a way to change the color of this thing here. Format. Fill color. I want to make it. We'll make it a light color. We'll make it like that. There you go. We can make a border. Format options. Oops, I keep hitting that. And the border color. Let's go black. Okay. So now I'm gonna delete this. Control C, Control V. Now I'm just gonna make one that says internal stakeholders. All right. Oh yeah, we need to finish this off. Sorry about that. We need to put continuous, intermittent, and postponement. And then we'll change this box to fill color. Was that it? Yeah. A different color. That's fine. Doesn't matter. And black. Okay. So. And we can do this here also. Let's go ahead and I'm just do some basic formatting. This is just cosmetic. You can do whatever you want. This is production system. Production system. Take this out. And we're gonna basically clean this up a little bit. So, okay. So, and then we'll move this down here. We'll make a box down here. Control C, Control V. Internal stakeholders. Now, so we're going to do internal stakeholders first. We're going to delete that out. And we're going to supply chain management. So, supply chain management. Oops. Control B. Supply chain manager. I'm going to change all this to normal text. Okay. Supply chain manager. And we got production, engineering, inspection, management, and shipping. So we have this here. I'm just gonna make this the same size as that one there, and then we're gonna create a Control C, Control V. Let's move this down here, and I'm gonna try to save time. Internal stakeholders. Internal stakeholders. All right. Once again, forgive me for my typing. It's just okay. So supply chain managers. We're just gonna highlight all this. Control C. Control V. So now in here, I can change this to 10 or 12. The other ones. Now what you can do is you can so we go risks. You can move this down here. Oh, come on. Sometimes it can be a little bit flaky. Fine. You're gonna be a pain. I could be a pain too. All right, so internal stakeholders. So now I'm gonna go. I can just copy this. Well, actually, well, I'm gonna make a. Okay, so, now what you could do. Increase in this pair. Okay, increase the number of parts, and you could do increase in complexity of production runs. We can just make a production. Once again, I'm just gonna throw this together. Production run complexity. I'm just gonna make it a little bit better English. And increase in quantity manufactured. And you can do like what I've actually done before is you can actually like, for instance, I'm gonna do this. I like to sometimes number them. Number your supplies, number these guys. So one, actually I think I can just highlight these and have it do automatic. Yeah. So number of parts of tracks. So we go 1 and 6. We'll say 1 and 6. Increase in warehouse space needed. That's a 1 and 6. Increase in production run complexity. That was in production. So 2. I guess I get it in. Let's say 5. Increase in quantity manufactured. Now that does 1. It'll affect 2, number 4, and 6. Engineering. So increase. We'll do increase design risk. For modular design. We'll say just postponement strategy. So go there. Okay. So increase design complexity. We're just gonna say it's gonna, well, it affects 1. We'll say 2, 3. That's fine. 1, 2, 3. Increase design risk. We're gonna say 1. I'll say 2, 3, and we'll say 6. Why not? Increase in number of. I covered this number of computers. Increase in number of quantity manufactured. So I'm gonna delete in. Increase in number of designs. So increase number of designs. So that's kind of, it'll affect 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. And this is good to number them because then you can see which ones have the biggest impact. Shift in, excuse me, shift in burden. We'll change this to increase training for production workers. And this would be well, not 1, no, 2. They gotta pay for it, I guess. 3, engineering, no inspection, no. 5, yeah, they gotta pay for it. We'll say 2 and 5. And then increase in shipping container designs. Okay. Designs needed. Okay. Increase. We already covered this in a previous number, so we're gonna leave it there. And increase in shipping container designs needed. So that'll be shipping. We'll say engineering too, because engineering has to design it. So 3 and 6. Okay, so we just did the risks. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna make a box. Whoopsie daisy. Not big enough. So this is 1. Oops. We want it transparent. And it's got a line already, right? Okay. So we've covered internal stakeholders. Delete. Okay, now I'm going to put another box around this here. So we got... okay, we'll go here. Transparent. Okay. So, now one good thing about Google Draw is you can move this out. Well, you should be, in theory, you can move it out. Let's see. Well, I should be able to anyway. Let's see. So you should be able to. You're normally able to zoom this out. Let me see.
Can you mind changing?
Okay. Okay, so here we are. I'm back. So I've just finished my internal stakeholders. And I am going to, okay. Now when you do boxes, if you want to change stuff, you have layers. So I'm going to move this to the back so I can mess with this here. And I'm going to increase. Okay, and I'm going to put this here and put this here. So I've got my production system, internal stakeholders, and now I'm going to work on my external stakeholders. So I'll get this here. Just going to basically duplicate this. Okay, external stakeholders. And make another box like this. Okay. And then for this here, I want to put adult customers, child customers, investors, schools. Okay, so now, and same as before, I'm gonna copy this box, make a copy of it, and then I'm just gonna highlight all this, and then may dislike design compared to other competitors. So we'll say 1 and 2 and 4. We'll say 1, 2, and 4. So not enough software available for use on computer. Once again, we'll just do 2 and 4. We're going to assume that you know, children in the schools. So investors. High initial costs may scare away short-term investors. So, and we're going to say 3. And then may not be powerful enough for expected use. And really with this one, we'll say 1, 2, and 4. So now we've done all this here. So delete, and we're going to go ahead and make a box that says well, it's okay. We're gonna do the same thing here. We're gonna go order, send backward, and we're going to order, move to back. Send to back. Okay, and then we can take this, Control C, Control V, put in your risks, and then for cosmetics, we'll draw a box around the whole thing just for cosmetic reasons, and then we're done. So, and then I'm going to shrink the zoom. It should. Yeah, and that's your whole document right there. So we're going to, yeah. So I'm going to change the font so I can see what I'm doing. So, and this is a very simple graphic organizer. That basically introduces your production system, internal stakeholders, and external stakeholders with the risks associated with all three of them. And then you would use this as a jumping board for the other sections of your operations plan. Like, for instance, you would have a section that would talk about the production system and go through these risks through all of the, in full detail, increased change order costs and time, but the benefit would be such and such. Risk, what's the benefit of going this route? So we talk about the decisions, and then the risk, we say, hey, look, this is what each of these stakeholders how they will be impacted, and then you just write it out. Okay, so I hope this helps, and please let me know if there's anything that I can do to assist going forward. This is just a top level. You could make links between all of these. You can make a matrix with all these numbers on it and make it look really pretty. For a one-page organizer, I probably wouldn't go that far, but this should be good for you to start off to understand basically just how to make a very basic graphic organizer. I hope this helps, and please let me know in the class if I can answer any questions for you. Thank you very much.